Welcome. Today we are doing a really deep dive into, well, maybe the ultimate source material for childhood adventure, certainly American childhood adventure, Mark Twain's The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, it's foundational.
And we're not just, revisiting a classic. We're looking at it as maybe a blueprint, a structure for what makes a grand adventure tick, especially for kids. The rules, the stakes, the whole psychological game.
Exactly. And Twain himself kind of gives us the mission right up front in the preface he wrote back in 1876. He says, sure, it's for the entertainment of boys and girls, but he also wants it to pleasantly remind adults of what they once were themselves.
I love that. It's like he's saying, yeah, this stuff mattered. That lost marble, the fight, getting caught, it felt huge then. And he wants adults to remember that feeling. It gives those childhood stakes real weight, even before you get to the darker stuff later.
Right. He treats it all seriously.
Yeah.
And he drops us right into this specific place and time, St. Petersburg, Missouri. Fictional, yeah, but based on Hannibal, Missouri. And it's set, 30 or 40 years before he's writing?
So mid-1800s, basically. A pretty rough-edged, shabby little village on the Mississippi.
And that setting is crucial. It's a world with different rules, different freedoms than, say, today. And Twain points out something really important for understanding the adventures.
The superstitions.
Yeah, the odd superstitions. He says they were all prevalent among children and slaves in the West at the period of this story. Things like dead cats, curing warts, ghosts, specific rituals.
So it's not just random kid stuff. It's like the actual operating system for their world. It dictates how they see things, what they fear, what's possible. It drives the plot, really.
Absolutely. It makes the magic or the dread feel real to them, and the characters fit right into this world. Twain tells us at the main two, Tom and Huck.
Right. He says Huck Finn is drawn from life, like a real kid he knew.
Exactly. One specific person. Huck is sort of the natural state, the outsider. But Tom's different.
Yeah, Tom's a combination. That's the word he uses.
Uh-huh. A combination of the characteristics of three boys whom I knew. He even calls Tom part of the composite order of architecture.
Huh. Like he's built, designed.
Pretty much. Tom is the archetype, the American boy, full of mischief, ambition, drama, all bundled together. Huck's the reality check, Tom's the performance.
So the whole book, these queer enterprises, as Twain calls them, they're all about testing this composite character, Tom, pushing him.
Yeah. It's not just one big quest for treasure, though that's in there. It's a series of adventures where Tom is constantly trying to figure out how to be himself, how to live by his own rules, against the boring adult world of St. Petersburg.
It's like he's fighting for agency, trying to turn chores into games, rules into challenges.
That's it, exactly. Trying to survive, thrive maybe, using his wits, his imagination, whether he's, tricking kids into painting a fence or seeing something truly awful.
Okay, so let's break it down. Stage one feels like it's all about these initial skirmishes. Tom versus the world, basically, starting with Aunt Polly.
Right, his guardian. And she's trying what Twain calls her dark and mysterious diplomacy to manage him.
Which mostly fails, right? Like checking his shirt collar.
Yeah, she sews it shut with black thread in the morning. Her thinking is, if the collar's still sewn shut and the shirt's dry, he hasn't taken it off to go swimming when he played hooky.
Clever. Except Tom's cleverer.
Oh, way ahead. He did go swimming, but he knew she'd check for dampness, so he only wet his hair. He gets home, she checks the dry shirt, feels the collar, still sewn. She thinks she's got him.
But then the betrayal.
Sid, his half-brother, the model boy. Always quiet, always observing.
Ugh, Sid. He points out the thread.
Yep. Oh, Aunt Polly, didn't you sew his collar with white thread this morning? And Tom had resewn it himself, but used black thread. Busted.
And Tom's reaction is instant. Sadie, I'll lick you for that. He just hates that conformity, that tattling.
That resentment fuels the next conflict, doesn't it? The fight with the new kid.
Oh, yeah, the stranger. The well-dressed boy in this town where nobody dresses up, especially not on a weekday.
He just shows up looking all neat and tidy. Shoes on a weekday, a cap, a necktie. It's like an affront to St. Petersburg's whole identity.
And Tom just can't stand it. Twain says the sight ate into Tom's vitals. It leads to that classic kid showdown.
Taunting, insults. I can lick you. Try it. Drawing the line in the dust.
The ultimate test. You will take a dare.
And Tom never takes a dare. So they fight. It's messy, rolling in the dust. But Tom wins.
Pins him down, pounds until the new kid yells, "Nuff." Victory.
Sort of. The kid throws a rock as he runs off. Tom chases him home. It's never quite a clean win in Tom's world. There's always another complication.
And this particular win earns him the big punishment: whitewashing the fence on Saturday.
That massive fence, 30 yards of board fence, 9 feet high, a huge job.
And the worst part isn't the work itself, it's the humiliation. He knows the other boys, especially Ben Rogers, are going to come by and make fun of him.
Totally dreading it. But this is where we see Tom's, well, his genius, really. The whitewashing gambit.
It's maybe the most famous scene. He turns punishment into profit.
He doesn't just trick them, he understands something fundamental about people. So Ben Rogers comes along, pretending to be a steamboat, the big Missouri. Lots of noise, showing off.
And Tom
Completely ignores him, just stands back, surveys his work, adds a touch here, squints at it, like he's Michelangelo or something.
who's performing work as art.
Exactly. Ben stops his steamboat act. He's intrigued. He asks Tom what he's doing. Tom pretends he didn't even notice him.
Then the masterstroke. He doesn't complain about the work. He frames it as a privilege.
Right. He makes it sound incredibly difficult, incredibly special. Does a boy get a chance to whitewash a fence every day? He acts like Aunt Polly would never trust just anyone with this job.
He says something like, one boy in 1,000, maybe 2,000, could actually do it right.
He makes it scarce, desirable, hard to attain. And Ben completely falls for it. He goes from mocking Tom to begging for a turn.
Let me try, Tom. Just a little.
And Tom plays reluctant. No, Aunt Polly's awful particular about this fence. He builds the desire. Finally, he agrees. But Ben has to pay.
Pay to do his chore. With his apple. The whole apple.
And it works. Other boys come along. They see Ben working hard. Tom sitting there like a boss, eating the apple. They all want in.
And they all pay. The book lists the haul. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Literal wealth. 12 marbles, part of a Jew's harp, blue glass, a school cannon, a key that doesn't open anything.
A brass doorknob, 6 firecrackers, a one-eyed kitten.
Everything a boy could want. And the fence.
3 coats of whitewash. Tom didn't lift the brush after that first bit.
And this is where Twain gives us that great law of human action. It's maybe the key takeaway from this whole section.
It boils down to obligation, right?
Exactly. Work, Twain says, is whatever a body is obliged to do. Play is whatever a body is not obliged to do.
So it's not about the task itself, it's about whether you have to do it.
Precisely. He uses that analogy of rich English gentlemen paying huge amounts to drive a 4-horse coach for fun.
Right. They love it. It's a blast.
But if you offered them wages to do the exact same thing, suddenly it's work, and they'd quit on the spot.
Tom just figured that out. How to flip the script, make obligation seem like a choice, a privilege, control the narrative.
Yeah. And he immediately uses this newfound power, this understanding, in his next big project.
Which is?
Getting the girl, Becky Thatcher.
Ah, Becky. He sees her, and instantly poor Amy Lawrence.
Poof. Gone. Vanished out of his heart, and left not even a memory of herself behind. His entire focus shifts.
So how does he apply his law of human action here?
Well, mostly by showing off, trying to make himself seem desirable, unique, hard to ignore.
Like doing crazy gymnastics in the street when she walks by.
Yep. And remember the Sunday school incident? Trading all his whitewashing, lose the marbles, the kitten, everything for Bible verse tickets.
Just to get enough tickets to win the prize Bible, even though he barely knows 2 verses.
He wins it, gets called up in front of everyone, including Judge Thatcher, Becky's father. Total glory. Until the judge asks him to name the first 2 disciples.
And Tom blurts out, David and Goliath. Oops.
Total humiliation. But the prize itself, that cheap Barlow knife.
Yeah, the source says it wouldn't cut anything, but just the name Barlow had inconceivable grandeur. It's all about perception, the story you tell.
Exactly. His next move is even riskier. He needs proximity to Becky at school.
So he gets himself in trouble on purpose.
Deliberately. First, he trades his pulled tooth, a treasure in itself, for a tick Huck Finn caught.
A tick. Ew. Okay.
Then, knowing full well it's forbidden, he admits to the schoolmaster he stopped to talk to Huck Finn on the way to school.
Which gets him a flogging.
A huge one, but also exile. He's forced to sit on the girl's side of the room, right next to him.
Becky Thatcher. Mission accomplished. Painful, but effective.
He endures the physical pain for the strategic gain, and it works. For a bit, he writes, I love you, on his slate. They touch hands. They get engaged.
Yeah, that whole kid engagement thing. Very serious. Swearing to love only each other forever.
Until Tom makes the classic mistake, the unforced error.
He mentions the previous engagement. To Amy Lawrence.
Ah, the fatal words. Why me and Amy Lawrence, he realizes instantly. Too late.
Becky's crushed. Were you engaged to her? Did you love her? Tears. She throws back his engagement gift, that precious brass and iron knob.
Total rejection. Tom feels utterly shamed, defeated. He slinks off, thinking about running away. Becoming a soldier, an Indian chief, anything dramatic.
That feeling of being wronged, misunderstood, pushed out, that seems to be the catalyst for the next big leap, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This humiliation is the perfect setup for stage 2. The stakes need to get higher.
So Tom's feeling rejected, maybe a bit sorry for himself. Where does he go from there?
Well, the narrative pivots. The rejection, combined with just the general pressure of being Tom Sawyer, pushes him towards Huck Finn again, but this time it's not about trading ticks. It's darker, more serious.
Right, this is the graveyard scene, and it's driven by those superstitions we talked about.
Exactly. The reason they're meeting, to cure warts.
With a dead cat.
Of course.
A dead cat at midnight in the graveyard. Huck's the expert here. He lays out the procedure. You need the dead cat, you go to the grave of someone wicked.
Moss Williams, in this case. Recently buried. Right. And at midnight, when the devils come to take the wicked person's spirit away, you throw the cat after them and say this chant, and the warts follow the cat.
Makes perfect sense if you're 10 and believe in devils snatching souls. Why midnight, specifically?
Huck explains that too. They can't do it Sunday because devils don't slosh around much of a Sunday. There are rules, you see, even for devils.
So they go, hiding behind these big elm trees near the fresh grave. It's spooky, dark. Twain really builds the atmosphere, the solemn situation, he calls it.
They're genuinely scared. They hear noises, muffled voices, a lantern swinging. Huck's immediate thought.
It's the devil, sure enough, 3 of them. Lordy, Tom, we're goners.
Pure terror. But then the voices get closer, and Tom recognizes one, and it's way worse than devils.
Injun Joe, that murdering half-breed.
The fear ratchets up instantly. They see the 3 figures. Injun Joe, poor old Muff Potter, the town drunk, basically, and Dr. Robinson, the young town doctor.
And they're not there for Hoss Williams' soul. They're grave robbing.
Right. Digging up the body. Turns out the doctor hired Joe and Muff to do it for medical purposes, but there's bad blood between Joe and the doctor over some past insult, maybe money, too.
Things escalate fast. An argument. A fight.
It gets violent. Dr. Robinson knocks Muff Potter out cold with a headstone fragment. Then he manages to strike Injun Joe down, too. But Joe doesn't stay down.
No, he comes back up knife in hand, fueled by revenge, shouting that line.
The Injun blood ain't in me for nothing. And he stabs Dr. Robinson. Kills him. Right there in front of the boys.
It's brutal, sudden, and the calculation that follows is just chilling.
Absolutely. Muff Potter starts to stir, groaning. He's still dazed, probably drunk, and Injun Joe sees his chance.
He puts the bloody knife into Potter's open hand.
And then tells him he did it. Convinces the poor guy in his confused state that he flew into a rage and stabbed the doctor himself. Gaslighting, basically.
Potter completely believes him. Panics, begs Joe not to tell, runs off convinced he's a murderer.
And Tom and Huck, they just witness it all. They've gone from playing hooky and whitewashing fences to being accessories after the fact to murder. The world just tilted.
The psychological weight must be immense. What do?
They run. Scared out of their minds. They know they have to keep quiet.
Because of Injun Joe.
Yeah. Huck says it flat out. Joe wouldn't make any more of drowning us than a couple of cats. They understand this is life or death now, not kid stuff anymore.
So they need to make sure neither of them talks. They need an oath.
A really serious one. A simple promise isn't enough for this. Tom, always the one for dramatic flair, finds a clean pine shingle.
Writes the oath out with red keel, like chalk, basically. Swearing to keep Mum always, even if they're tortured, chopped all to flinders.
They sign it with their initials TS and HF using blood pricked from their fingers, perform some dismal ceremonies, bury the shingle, like sealing their fate.
But an oath doesn't just make the fear go away. How does it affect them?
It haunts them. Especially Tom. Guilt, dread. He talks in his sleep, groans. He's terrified, and Injun Joe will find out they know.
He gets a tiny bit of relief when Aunt Polly hears him groaning about the murder. But she just assumes he's upset about the town gossip, not that he actually saw it.
Right. But the guilt eats at him, particularly when Muff Potter gets arrested and jailed. Everyone thinks Muff did it. He faces hanging.
Tom feels responsible. He starts sneaking things to Muff in jail, tobacco, matches, little comforts, trying to ease his conscience.
But it just makes it worse. He knows Muff is innocent. The secret is a heavy burden. He goes to the trial, drawn by this awful, unaccountable fascination.
He watches day after day, listening to the testimony, knowing it's all wrong. The pressure builds.
Until he can't take it anymore, he's called to the stand. Everyone's surprised.
And he tells the truth.
Yeah.
or most of it. He carefully describes the fight, the stabbing, but leaves out the grave robbing part. Protects himself and Huckleberry.
He recounts what he saw, identifies Injun Joe, who's sitting right there in the courtroom disguised, names him as the killer.
And chaos erupts.
Injun Joe just bolts, springs through the window, crashes past people, and he's gone, escaped.
So Tom's a hero now, right? He saves Muff Potter. The whole town celebrates.
Oh yeah, he's lionized. Muff is eternally grateful, but...
But Injun Joe is still out there.
Yeah.
And he knows Tom snitched.
Exactly. Tom might be a hero during the day, but at night, he's terrified. Twain writes, Tom felt he never could draw a safe breath again until that man was dead and he had seen the corpse.
The stakes have gone from playground fights to genuine moral danger. He saved an innocent man, but put himself directly in the path of a killer. That's a heavy load for a kid.
A very heavy load, and it sets up the need for another escape, another kind of adventure.
Okay, so Tom's a hero, but he's also living in fear. And he's still smarting from Becky Thatcher's rejection, right? Plus all the other accumulated injustices of childhood.
Yeah, the ink spilled on his spelling book, getting blamed for things he didn't do, the murder secret weighing on him, it all kind of piles up. He feels persecuted.
So what's the solution for a boy feeling persecuted by society?
Obviously run away and lead a life of crime.
Naturally. Because, as Tom reasons, they had forced him to it.
It's that perfect kid logic, turning personal angst into a grand, dramatic gesture. He decides to become a pirate.
And he recruits his buddies. Joel Harper, who's also feeling down because his mother punished him unjustly. And of course,
Huck Finn, the ever-ready outsider. Huck's basically up for anything that isn't school or church.
they plan their escape. Midnight rendezvous on the riverbank. They're going to steal a log raft, capture it, and sail off to Jackson's Island a few miles downstream.
And they need pirate names, obviously. This is serious business.
Tom Sawyer, the Black Avenger of the Spanish Main.
Huck Finn, the red-handed.
Joe Harper, the Terror of the Seas. Very intimidating.
And the secret blood-curdling countersign.
Blood. Whispered dramatically, of course.
Of course. They push off into the Mississippi, rowing past the sleeping town, feeling like true adventurers escaping tyranny.
What's the appeal of piracy, according to Tom? Why is it better than, say, being a hermit?
Simple. Freedom from rules. The pirate don't have to go to school and wash and all that blame foolishness. It's the ultimate escape from St. Petersburg's constraints. No chores, no schedules, pure play.
So they get to Jackson's Island. What's pirate life actually like?
At first, paradise. Exploring, fishing, swimming naked, building a fire, cooking bacon and fish. Total freedom. No rules.
Sounds pretty good.
It is, for a bit. But then reality intrudes. Homesickness starts to creep in, especially for Joe. Then Tom insists they learn to smoke to be proper pirates.
Ah, the smoking lesson. How does that go?
Predictably terribly. They get some old corncob pipes and tobacco, puff away bravely for a while, pretending to enjoy it.
And then?
Green faces, dizziness, violent nausea. They have to sneak off separately into the woods to be miserably sick, each pretending they just went to look for a lost knife or something. The glamour of crime fades fast when you're throwing up.
Though the pirate life isn't quite living up to the fantasy, what snaps them back to adventure mode?
A sound, a deep, distant boom echoing over the water.
I don't know what it is at first.
Nope. Until Tom, the thinker, figures it out. It's the ferry boat, firing a cannon over the river.
Why would they do that?
It was a superstition back then. Firing a cannon was supposed to make a drowned body rise to the surface. They're searching for someone.
And Tom puts it together.
Yeah. The electrifying realization, boys, I know who's drowned. It's us.
Wow. That must have been a moment. They're not just runaways anymore, they're dead.
Exactly. And suddenly, being pirates is amazing again. They feel like heroes. They're being missed, mourned. People are talking about them. The whole town is consumed by their disappearance.
That's the ultimate validation for Tom, isn't it? To be the center of attention, even in death.
Maximum conspicuousness. It makes all the homesickness and nausea worthwhile, as Twain puts it.
But Tom, being Tom, he can't just enjoy being presumed dead. He needs to manage the narrative.
He has to know exactly how people are reacting, so he hatches a plan for a secret mission, reconnaissance.
Sneaks back to town at night.
Yep. Swims partway, hitches a ride on a skiff, creeps into his own house, finds Aunt Polly, Sid, Mary, and Joe Harper's mother all gathered, grieving.
And he hides.
Under the bed, listens to them cry, share loving memories, express regrets. He hears Aunt Polly feeling guilty about hitting him for giving the painkiller medicine to the cat.
That detail about the cat makes the grief so specific, so real. Tom must have felt something.
It's complex. He's clearly moved. He almost reveals himself, but then he gets the point, the big idea.
A master plan.
Keep the secret, let the mourning continue, and then make a grand entrance.
At their own funeral.
Exactly. Maximum dramatic impact. To be a conspicuous hero before the whole town, he even writes a note on a piece of sycamore bark saying they're alive, intends to leave it, but decides to keep it for the big reveal.
Does he show any genuine feeling before he leaves?
He does. Just before he sneaks out, he leans over Aunt Polly while she sleeps and kisses her. A little flicker of real affection mixed in with the grandstanding.
So he goes back to the island, convinces the others to stick it out until the funeral, which they do.
And then comes the scene, the funeral service. The church is packed. The minister is giving this incredibly moving sermon about the lost boys, recalling all their supposed sweet natures and good deeds that everyone misinterpreted at the time.
Everyone's weeping. Aunt Polly, the Harpers, Becky Thatcher.
Yeah.
The whole town drowning in regret.
And right at the peak of the sermon, the church door creaks open.
And in they walk. Tom, Joe, and Huck, striding down the aisle.
Twain calls it Tom's proudest moment. The congregation is just stunned, silent, then uproar, joy, relief, maybe a little annoyance at being manipulated.
But mostly joy.
Overwhelmingly, Aunt Polly smothers Tom with more cuffs and kisses than he had earned before in a year. Joe gets the same. Even Huck gets awkwardly hugged by the widowed Douglas.
Huck hates that part, doesn't he? The forced affection.
Makes him deeply uncomfortable, but Tom insists somebody's got to be glad to see Huck. Tom understands the social necessity, even if Huck doesn't.
So Tom's plan worked perfectly. He's the ultimate hero now. Does he face any skepticism?
Only from Sid. Sid suspects Tom didn't just dream about overhearing that conversation under the bed.
But Tom outsmarts him again.
Completely. He recounts the entire conversation he overheard as a marvelous dream, adding details he couldn't possibly have known unless he was there like Mrs. Harper blowing out the candle. It totally convinces Aunt Polly. His story holds.
His reputation is secure. He's the boy who came back from the dead. What does he do with his new status?
Well, first he goes back to school and immediately uses it to make Becky Thatcher jealous by flirting outrageously with Amy Lawrence again.
Seriously? After all that?
Oh, yeah. It's pure psychological warfare now. Becky retaliates by flirting with Alfred Temple, juvenile drama at its finest.
But this rivalry leads to something important, right? The book incident.
It does. Becky, trying to get a peek at the schoolmaster's secret anatomy book, accidentally tears a page just as the master, Professor Dobbins, approaches. She knows she's doomed.
And Tom sees her terror.
Sees her looking like a hunted and helpless rabbit. And when Dobbins starts grilling the students, demanding to know who tore the book,
Tom steps up.
leaps to his feet and shouts, "I done it!" Takes the inevitable, brutal whipping for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually noble. A real sacrifice.
It is. He endures serious pain, not for strategic gain this time, but purely to save her. It's a turning point for their relationship.
How does Becky react?
Utterly smitten. All their previous quarrels vanish. She whispers, "Tom, how could you be so noble?" That night, she falls asleep thinking about his sacrifice. He's won her back completely through genuine heroism this time.
So he's capable of both calculation and real sacrifice. That complexity makes him interesting.
Definitely. He's not just a prankster. There's depth there, even if it's often buried under layers of performance.
Okay, so Tom's a hero. He's got the girl. What's left? Summer vacation happens. There's a measles outbreak.
Right. The measles hit Tom just as a big religious revival sweeps the town. So everyone else got religion, including Huck and Joe, leaving Tom feeling utterly alone and lost forever and forever. That existential dread needs an outlet.
And the outlet is?
Treasure hunting. Back to the big dream. Finding buried gold.
This time they're serious, like real treasure.
They think so. They're after the loot supposedly hidden by Merle's gang. Real river pirates from the era. Thousands of dollars.
Where do you look for pirate treasure, according to Tom and Huck?
Standard places. Under trees with dead limbs. On islands, or the best bet, under the floor in haunted houses.
So they target the old abandoned house up Stillhouse Branch. Spooky place.
Perfect spot. They explore upstairs, get spooked by silence, decide to dig downstairs near the fireplace, but then they find something unsettling.
What's that?
Fresh dirt and some tools hidden away. Someone else has been digging there recently.
That's creepy. Do they run?
No, they hide upstairs just as voices approach. And who should walk in?
Oh, no. Let me guess.
Injun Joe, disguised as a deaf and dumb Spaniard, which was his cover around town. And he's got a partner, a ragged-looking guy.
So the terror's back. instantly.
Absolutely. And now it's linked directly to the treasure. The boys are trapped upstairs, peering through knotholes in the floor, watching Joe and his partner.
What do they see?
They see Joe find the treasure, not where Tom and Huck were digging, but right under the hearthstone, an old box full of gold coins.
Oh, the irony. They were so close.
Excruciatingly close. And they overhear two crucial things.
Okay, what are they?
First, Joe's not leaving town yet. He mentions one last job, a revenge job. He wants to harm the widow Douglas because her late husband, the judge, had him jailed and horsewhipped years ago. He planned something horrible for her.
That's terrifying. What's the second thing?
It's about the treasure. The partner suggests hiding it in number 1, which the boys know is Joe's room at the Temperance Tavern, but Joe says no.
He has a better hiding place.
Yeah. He says number 2 under the cross, but he doesn't say where number 2 is. It's a riddle.
So now the boys have 2 urgent secret missions. Stop the attack on the widow Douglas and figure out what number 2 under the cross means to find the gold.
Huge stakes on both fronts. Who takes on the first task? The widow Douglas rescue.
That falls to Huck. He feels like he owes the widow, who's been kind to him. Plus, he knows Injun Joe's ruthlessness better than anyone.
So Huck shadows Joe and his partner that night, follows them up Cardiff Hill towards the widow's house. He hears Joe detailing his plan to mutilate her.
Horrifying. What does Huck do?
He runs for help, finds the house of the old Welshman and his sons, tells them what's happening. They grab guns and rush to the widow's place just in time to scare off Joe and his partner after a brief gunfight.
Huck's a hero. He saved her life.
He did, but the stress, the fear, the running around, it takes a toll. Huck gets incredibly sick, a high fever, delirium. The widow Douglas takes him in and nods to him, not even knowing he's the one who saved her.
So Huck's out of commission. What's happening with Tom and Becky during all this?
They're off on the long-awaited big picnic. The highlight is exploring McDougal's cave.
Which is described as this huge, amazing, dangerous place.
Oh, yeah. A massive labyrinth. Miles of passages, chambers like cathedrals, stalactites, weird formations like Aladdin's palace and the Niagara waterfall shape, bats everywhere. It's the ultimate adventure playground.
But also easy to get lost in.
Extremely. And Tom, wanting to be a discoverer, leads Becky off the main paths deeper and deeper into the cave, and he forgets the cardinal rule.
Making marks to find their way back.
Yep. No smoke marks on the walls. They try to backtrack, but they're utterly lost. Deep underground.
That's terrifying. What do they have with them?
Just some leftover picnic cake and a few candle stubs. Not much.
Days start to pass. Darkness, hunger, fear. The candles burn low.
They huddle together. Becky is despairing. Tom tries to stay brave, exploring nearby passages using a kite line as a guide, so he doesn't get lost from their base.
And during one of these explorations, he sees something.
The absolute worst possible thing. He's crawling along, holding his candle, and he sees another light flicker down a side passage. And attached to that light, a human hand.
Don't tell me.
Injun Joe's hand. He recognizes him instantly. Joe is in the cave, too. Lost as well, maybe. Or using it as a hideout.
What does Tom do? Does Joe see him?
Tom shouts out just an involuntary yell and quickly retreats. Luckily, Joe doesn't see him, just hears the noise and runs the other way. Tom gets back to Becky, but he doesn't tell her who he saw, just says he shouted for luck. He knows the truth would crush her remaining hope.
So now they're lost, starving, and sharing the cave with a murderer. It can't get much worse.
It seems hopeless. Tom makes one last desperate attempt, exploring another passage with his kite line, almost giving up.
And then...
A glimmer, far off, a tiny speck of light. Daylight.
they found a way out.
Yeah, a previously unknown exit 5 miles downstream from the main entrance. They emerge, weak and starving, but alive. The whole town had been searching, mobilized 200 men. They're heroes again, rescued from the brink. People even carved Becky and Tom deep inside the cave.
What about Injun Joe? Does anyone know he was in there?
Not at first. Tom is recovering for about 2 weeks. He goes to visit Becky at Judge Thatcher's house. The judge mentions he's had the main entrance of McDougal's cave sealed shut with a massive, locked wooden door to prevent future tragedies.
And Tom realizes.
Tom blurts it out. "Oh, Judge, Injun Joe's in the cave."
Oh my God. They sealed him in.
Judge Thatcher is horrified. They immediately unlock the door, go inside, and find him.
Dead.
Dead. Right near the inside of the door, starved to death. Twain describes him stretched out, his face close to the crack, as if his longing eyes had been fixed to the latest moment, upon the light and the cheer of the free world outside. It's a grim, pitiful end.
But for Tom, it's finally over. The threat is gone.
The weight is lifted. He can finally draw a safe breath. He feels pity, but mostly relief. The monster is dead, and now there's only one loose end.
The treasure. Number 2 under the cross.
Right. Huck is recovering from his fever. Tom tells him about seeing Joe in the cave, and suddenly it clicks for Huck. Number 2 wasn't a room number.
It was in the cave.
Exactly. Joe must have meant a hiding place inside McDougal's.
So they go back. Just the 2 of them.
Yep. Armed with candles, string, supplies. Tom knows the cave pretty well now. They explore near where he saw Joe. Tom remembers seeing a cross marked on the wall with candle smoke in a small side cavern near a spring.
Under the cross.
That has to be it. They dig under the smoke cross. Tom uses his trusty, real Barlow knife. Hits wood.
The box.
The treasure box. And it's heavy. They find some old guns, an empty powder keg, and the box filled with gold and silver coins.
How much?
A little over $12,000. A massive fortune back then. Enough to make them rich. They haul it out of the cave in secret using Benny Taylor's little wagon. They did it. They found the pirate gold. The ultimate adventure succeeded.
So they get the treasure. $12,000. That changes everything, right? Especially for Huck.
Oh, completely. The discovery of the money, which Judge Thatcher invests for them, makes them wealthy. And for Huck, wealth means one thing immediately. Civilization.
Forced civilization.
Exactly. The widow Douglas, grateful and feeling responsible, officially adopts him, which means...
And clothes. Regular meals with a knife and fork. Shoes. Church. School. No smoking, no swearing.
all the stuff Huck hates. He feels trapped. He calls it the bars and shackles of civilized life. He complains about having to wash, having to talk so properly that speech becomes insipid, eating by a bell.
It sounds miserable for him. He says the grub comes too easy. He misses the challenge, the freedom.
He can't stand it. After a few weeks, he runs away. Back to his old comfortable spot, the empty sugar hogshead behind the abandoned slaughterhouse. He puts his rags back on. He prefers being dirty and free to being clean and constrained.
Tom finds him there, right? How does Tom react?
Tom understands Huck's misery, but he also sees the bigger picture. He needs Huck for his next grand adventure.
Which requires Huck to be respectable.
Ironically, yes. Tom wants to start a new gang. Tom Sawyer's gang. Robbers this time. Much more high-toned than pirates.
Lie-toed robbers.
Yeah, Tom argues that a robber is more high-toned than what a pirate is as a general thing. He says in most countries, robbers are practically nobility, dukes and such.
So he's appealing to Huck's ambition, not his sense of duty.
Exactly. He's not arguing for clean shirts in church. He's arguing that to achieve the pinnacle of rebellious play, being a high-class robber, Huck first needs to meet the basic entry requirements.
And the requirement is?
Respectability. Tom lays it down. We can't let you into the gang if you ain't respectable. Huck has to go back to the widow, endure the baths and the bells, stick to the widder till I rot, so that he can join the gang and participate in their midnight oaths signed in blood on a coffin.
Wow. So civilization becomes the price of admission for the ultimate fantasy of rebellion. That's quite a twist.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Twain basically forces Huck and Tom to accept the very structure they've been fighting against, but reframes it as a necessary step towards a higher form of play. You have to do the work of being respectable to earn the play of being a noble robber.
So looking back at the whole journey, what are the big takeaways? Twain seems to be doing more than just telling a fun story.
Absolutely. He's constantly playing with that line between childhood fantasy and grim reality. Pirates sound fun until you get sick. Treasure is great until you realize a murderer is guarding it.
And the idea of work versus play seems central. Tom masters that distinction.
He does. He learns how to manipulate perception, how to turn obligation into desire. But the story also suggests that true reward, like saving Muff Potter or finding the treasure through intellect, solving the number 2 riddle, comes from facing reality, not just fantasizing.
Tom had to show real courage at the trial, real cleverness in the cave. He earned the gold, in a way.
Yeah, his success wasn't just luck or charm. It involved genuine risk and smarts. He navigated both the world of boyish games and the world of adult consequences, poverty, murder, starvation, and came out on top. Wealthy, admired, secure.
Which brings us to that final thought Twain leaves us with. He ends the book there, saying he might check back in on Tom and Huck later to see what sort of men and women they turned out to be. He deliberately stops before they grow up.
Right. It leaves you wondering. Tom used his newfound status and wealth to basically force Huck back into the system, albeit under the guise of starting a super exclusive robber gang.
So the provocative question is, does winning the adventure, getting the gold, ultimately just lead to conformity? Does achieving the dream mean you have to give up the wildness that got you there? Or is Tom just setting up a new, more sophisticated game within the system?
Is respectability the end of adventure, or just the beginning of a different, perhaps more high-toned kind? That's what Twain makes you ponder.